And I would like for you to be in a place where you're fully relaxed, comfortable in your home, in your office, in your car, wherever you are. And close your eyes and take 6 deep breaths for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's like what I would like for you to do. I trust that you're in a safe space right now. Is float outside of your body. And then float outside of the home you're in. Keep floating up to the sky, so high that you're seeing the earth. And now you are with the stars. And with your future before you and your past behind you. I would like for you to float up above your timeline and facing your past. Now float toward the very first event and let me know when you're there.
Yes, I'm here.
My name is Terry Messenger and I am
Hey, and welcome to Terry Messenger's Genius Zone. And, this is the place in the space where you are going to get your own free masterclass absolutely free.
Hello, welcome to Terry Messenger's Genius Zone. And I love bringing world-class coaches, healers and leaders and just totally amplifying, expanding and revealing their zone of genius. And we have something super special tonight, because whether it is day or night, I want you to be able to get your favorite drink, sit back and relax, because guess what? You are going to transmute your fear of judgment and any fear, shyness, shrinking back, lack of voice into your power, your confidence. You're going to be like the phoenix. Speaking of phoenixes, it is Stacy Phoenix, who has risen from the ashes. And you are going to be like that phoenix who also rises from the ashes. But when you do this, you are going to also experience at the end of this podcast a true, powerful NLP modality that is going to be completely astounding and life-changing. So don't run away. Get really comfortable and let's do this as I bring on the beautiful Stacy Phoenix. Hello, Stacy. How are you?
Hi, Terry. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. And you are in the beautiful which city of the world?
In New Hampshire. Which city? I'm in Milford.
Nice. That's so good. And I'm astounded because I'm not a morning person. So you are on the opposite side of the world. So, you've been up since, obviously the crack of dawn. It's like just after 7, it's probably getting close to 7:30 a.m. in the morning. And here you are looking absolutely dazzling. Now, your journey began out as a Reiki healer. And, I understand that, you had a few very pertinent moments. What actually inspired you to become a Reiki healer and do chakra healing and so forth?
Well, what inspired, I wanted to heal myself from my divorce at the time. And then after I received my first certification, I realized that this is something that I can help others do as well. And I believe in Reiki. It works for me. It works for the people I've helped train to become more confident. And also, it felt really important for me to teach something that was new, that my friends didn't know about or my family members didn't know about. So it was exciting.
That is amazing. And, I have to say, after your divorce, you described that as a very dark space in your life where it was almost like the death of someone, losing someone, where your dreams were completely shattered. And for, those people out there that, are either going through that, in one way or the other, maybe it might be in a relationship or in another way, isn't it incredible how the modalities such as, chakra healing, Reiki, and especially neuro-linguistic programming and timeline therapy, which you are going to take us through, are so powerful and so quick and so incredible. So tell us about your healing, so what that looked like. So obviously, you were going through a lot of grief at the time. Like, what were you feeling? Like, what was it like getting up in the mornings? How did you go about life? And, what happened when you got that healing, and, describe that to us, in that first instance, and then we'll move on to obviously the timeline and how that healed you as well.
Yeah, I mean, with Reiki, that was a very difficult time period for me. It was tough to get out of bed. I felt very depressed, I'll be honest with you, although motivated at the same time, as I had my daughter as well. And she was the reason why I continued on to, get out of bed and do things. She gave me purpose. And I feel like, anyone else who's listening, who's a single parent going through something like that, like a divorce or a separation or a breakup with a young child, it can be very challenging to stay focused on being positive, right? Especially in a dark place. So for me, I got out of bed because I told myself I had to continue on for my daughter. I have to support now. I'm on my own. So that was my main motivator to continue on into doing better for myself, becoming a better person, and therefore becoming a better mom.
I can't help but just saying this, and I say it so much, that when people in our field and our industry and that have walked our path have gone through some of the darkest, hardest challenges, and they find themselves in this situation where they're blessed with this incredible, this subconscious healing. That's what I'm going to call it. It's like it's the healing of the light that goes into your body. It's like the body being the library of all the memories and even the past memories of our genetics of past generations and beyond. And so, you know, when we are hurt, we're not just hurting from what we're going through, but we've accumulated, as you know, maybe even hundreds of years of our ancestors' DNA and the patterns that we have also been going through. And then it's almost like I know myself magic, and I'll keep the timeline to the end. I always like to leave the best to last. But, you know, was it that you began healing as a result of chakra healing? You know, what did that look like? Was that where you just sort of invited light into the body? Was it, you know, a specific way that you had to think and maybe make an intention even? Or can you just describe that? Because chakra and Reiki is not my field, so I would love to know about that.
Yeah, so with Reiki, it's energy work, and energy is everywhere. We're all made of energy as well. So I combined Reiki healing with chakra therapy to help my clients remove any blockages energetically within them. And the blockages can be subconscious and emotional as well, right? So I go down each chakra system, starting from the root chakra all the way to the top. And first, my main role is to pinpoint which chakras is blocked and what is it blocked by. And then we remove that with Reiki. Right?
Do you find that throat is a big one? Because especially because you really love to help aspiring, you know, actors and creatives and people that want to step into their power as well now and really help them to, you know, find their voice and find their confidence. Do you find that the throat chakra is a big one in healing? Or, you know, can you even walk us through those chakras? Like, you know, talk about all the different chakras from the crown right down to the root chakra?
Yeah, I can certainly do that. So to answer your first question, the throat chakra is definitely a big one. That's where you have your voice and you're speaking your voice as well. And being honest with not only others, but being honest with yourself too, with what you really want. Coinciding with the inner child, expressing your wants and needs, right?
Yeah.
Your real wants and needs, not based on what other people want of you. So your crown chakra is where you connect with the universe, your spirit, the spiritual realm. Your third eye chakra is really where a lot of your psychic abilities lie once you open that. Yep. So like your intuition.
On the top of the head.
Yep.
And we have the third eye. Yep.
And then your throat chakra is where you had it before in your throat. And as I mentioned, that's where you communicate your voice, being honest with yourself, being honest with your life purpose and what your wants and needs are. And then you have your heart chakra, which is where love lies. It's also where depression lies and grief lies as well, if there's any blockages there. I did a lot of healing in my heart chakra as well after my divorce with Reiki and chakra therapy. And then there's your solar plexus chakra, which is right beneath your breast area in between. That's where your confidence lies and your personal power lies.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. I'll tell you why it's interesting, because, you know, I've always learned how to develop confidence, but it was kind of like almost a power that I had to create in myself, almost as a compensation. So I learned how to be on stage and have that kind of confidence from a very young age. And I understand that when people have this weakness, which is what I'm repeatedly always saying, and there is this incredible deficit and challenge and dark night of the soul. I can almost put, my house on it, that when it's healed becomes a very big inroad into a person's superpower, into their mission, their purpose, and their vision. And even though I say that I learned confidence as a child, I get affected in that area when I'm suffering. That's why I was a little bit amazed, because, that being, I didn't realize that solar plexus, piece, I knew it was there, and I even know how to bring light into it as a hypnotherapist, but I don't understand the chakras like someone like you. And so it's interesting that that's the area that I suffer, even though it's also a part of my power.
Right. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So that is the solar plexus. So we have the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus right here.
Yep.
And then
the sacral chakra, which is where your creativity lies as well. So if you're, for instance, I had a sacral chakra block where I was feeling bloated, and I didn't know the reason. And then once I unblocked it, the bloating went away. And then I felt so much better. I felt like my creative juices were flowing again. More ideas were coming through. And also, I felt more in tune with my body again as well, which was really, really nice.
Would you like to explain to our listeners, because yes, there are a lot of coaches, healers, leaders, and even people that are going to be drawn to this podcast because they obviously want to develop the kind of confidence that you're going to be really talking about and teaching very soon. But can you talk about that sacral chakra and explain where that is? And, because I know that does play a big role.
Yes, it's right below your belly button, your navel. That's where your sacral chakra is. And then, so all of our chakras are connected to different parts of our organ system as well. So if you're, for instance, if your throat chakra is blocked and you're coughing and you're having like issues in your neck and your mouth area, that could be a sign that your throat chakra is blocked. Or if you're having headaches, right here in your frontal lobe area, in your pineal gland area, that could be a sign that your third eye chakra is blocked. So pay attention to the signs of what your body is telling you where you're having difficulties or pains.
Oh,
that's where the blockages could lie. Yeah.
That is so, so vital. And I love the fact that you've said pay attention to that, because a lot of people, they'll just go through life, and then when they get blockages, they get pain that shows up in the way that it manifests. They'll go and try and do something about it. They'll take medication but they're not really getting to the root cause. And if only they could get to ask that question. So what's the difference between the sacral chakra and the root chakra?
So the root chakra is where fear lies, is where your basic trust is. It's right below your private, right above your private area, right? Yeah. And it's connected to the base of your spine as well. So if you have lower back problems, you may have a blockage there. If you feel like you can't trust people, you have fear of judgment, fear of anything really, you have anxiety, that's also connected to your heart, because all of the chakra systems connected to each other. It's all down where the root chakra is.
Yeah, and I understand too that that's not just the creative section of our body, but it's where we're driven. And there's a lot of sexuality, and that part of our sexuality plays a huge part in our drive, and how that's transmuted into our ambition and our passion. And so therefore, that part of our body, I know that when we're doing like a feminine and a masculine kind of meditation, we're bringing that yin and yang and balance together. But a lot of it does belong in that sacred chakra, part of our body. And of course, as you say, in the root chakra, which is around where our sexual organs are and around where that kind of awakens our prosperity codes, interestingly.
Yes. And, not to go too off topic, it's important to be mindful of who you choose as a sexual partner, because that is an energetic exchange. You're not just being with that one person, you're also going to take on the energy of the people that they were with as well, and you for them. So
absolutely. I reckon we could do a whole podcast just on that. The soul contracts and the, people don't take that seriously, especially today. They don't realize that when they're joining forces with someone in a very intimate way, exactly what you said, you're not just becoming intimate with that person, but you are also energetically linked to all the people they have ever been with. And that's pretty scary, isn't it? But there's good news, Stacey, and you and I both know this. And I know that, it's part of the healing we do, you and I can do when we're seeing clients. And I guess I'm really kind of like feeling into the fact that you've probably stepped into your niche as a result of doing a lot of healing work and discovering, who people really were, when they kind of released a lot of their pain, and then stepping into people that want to step into their power. But firstly, they have to heal so many of those wounds. And I guess that's probably why you started with inner child healing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of our programming is from our childhood and our upbringing, and also, as you mentioned earlier, past lives and our lineage that was passed down with NLP and timeline therapy. So it's so important for us to remember who we were when we were younger and what we've been through in order to clear out the past so you can move forward and become the person you desire to be on stage in front of the camera, healing others.
Because let's face it, everybody wants to feel significant. And, whether it happens to be that they do want that stage presence, like what you are really your expertise, and that's your kind of superpower in really bringing that out of a person. However, I believe you and I both know too that for that person to really rise into their superpower, they've got to transcend, and they've got to be able to heal so many of those wounds so that they can unblock and release and set themselves free, and then anchor in their confidence. But can you talk me through now one of the modalities, and I know you use timeline, and we're going to keep that to the end, but aside from that, can you talk to me about the kind of techniques or strategies that you would give someone who's either just about to walk on stage, just about to walk into a meeting, perhaps even like my sister said to me only yesterday that she was asked to train 14 people. And so for her, that's kind of like public speaking, because once it starts getting over 5 people, you're sort of speaking to a room. And she just, she could have done with your services for sure. What would you say to a person who was, in that position and they really needed to just tap into their confidence, what would be, walk us through what you would tell them to do and what you would take them through?
Well, the first thing I would say is to alleviate the focus off of her and onto her audience, meaning shift your focus of potential fear of judgment or fear of like, oh, am I going to mess up, or I hope I'll do well, kind of to get her outside of her head and out into the main point, which is to train the 14 people. Stay focused on the topic, stay focused on what you have to do on hand, and stay focused on your delivery. What are you going to teach your audience? What are you training them on? So therefore, that will help take the nerves away and take the focus off of her and onto her purpose, which is to train those 14 people. And I also like to tell my clients to visualize themselves doing it before they walk out. Like, how do you want to feel? How do you want to present yourself while you're doing it? Tap into that emotion and then walk out and ride that wave.
That's amazing. That is so very, very powerful. And I just want to really open up and expand on what you've said, because it's so powerful about taking the focus off themselves and remembering what they're there for. I know a lot of the strategies that a lot of these stage presenters, especially if they're stand-up comedy people and people like that, or even stage hypnotherapists, right? Quite often they'll move into the audience, or they'll tell the audience to stand, or they'll take the focus off themselves and put it onto the audience, because all of a sudden when the audience gets asked to stand up to do something, it's like, oh, they start to feel what you'd expect the presenter to feel. But because that focus is about what you're doing for them, it's not about you. Right. So that's what I'm hearing you say. It's really not about you. So you've literally got to get out of the way of yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, and really, people want to know how you're going to help them too. That's the reason why they're there. They're looking for your help and how you're going to better their lives and things like that.
Yeah, I think that's a big reason too why I am, you know how in NLP they teach you about whether a person's toward motivated or away motivated, and or it might be a little bit old fashioned because I obviously did NLP back in 2006, so that was a lot of years ago. Not as bad as Tony Robbins, who was in the 70s and popularized it, of course, or many years ago as that anyways. But, good for knowing with children, if a child is toward motivated, they'll kind of move toward, well, you know what? If you eat all the vegetables on your plate, you're going to get your dessert. And compared to the other child who's away motivated, it's like, well, if you don't eat that, you're not going to get any dessert. So it's a change of language. And it's interesting how we change our language in NLP, and we can, change the way we feel. We can change the way we think. And you probably discovered yourself that a great deal of neuro-linguistic programming was about changing and shifting a lot of the old stories and paradigms, and being able to just really step into, a new level of who we are. So, okay, when you first worked with someone and you had to really get them to move into that powerful confidence, did you use anchoring?
I do. Anchoring is so powerful on so many levels. And shortly after, for instance, when I was doing Reiki, I would have my clients do an action that they can remember onto themselves. It could be like a pinch or like a certain touch. Yep, like that. Yep, or a clap.
Clench your fist.
Yeah.
Clap. Yeah. Yep.
To have them maintain and tap back into that vibration, that frequency, that emotion, when as they need to. That good feeling after the Reiki session.
Yeah. And can I ask what your favorite way is to elicit their state? Like, obviously I have my own ways of doing that. But, what do you often say to them to kind of, I'm going to say, trigger in a way of triggering a great state? What kind of language do you use around that?
You like to use tap in, as I mentioned, or tune in. What type of gesture would you like to tune into the state, this positive state?
And what about if they are a person who, like I've had people like this before, truly, they've come in, but they're depressed and they're trying to get out of that kind of stuck state, or, remember like what you were like once upon a time when you were going through that. And then you obviously jumped, quantum leaped, and, were able to step into this new way of being. And obviously you did a lot of healing around that. Probably the timelining was another one that was, again, your favorite. But do you get them to kind of jump into memories to help them? Like, do you find that it's a good idea, because some practitioners will go, right, you want confidence? I want you to remember a time when you're confident. Do you do that? Or is it more through frequency or sound or something else?
It's both. So what I do is I have them go back to a time where, if for the purpose of conversation that we're having, in a depression, right? So depression is, for me, I like to explain it in this way with my clients, where it's like an umbrella of other emotions. And one of the the biggest emotion that I've learned when it comes to depression is the feeling of powerlessness.
Oh, terrible.
Right?
Yes.
So when a lot of times when we feel depressed, we actually also feel very powerless. Like we have no control over a situation, our lives, our bodies, whichever it is. And that's creating that big emotion of depression, or the state of depression. So what I like to do is tap into that, and then tap into the positive state. Like, when was a time where you felt joy in regards to that same topic? And so when that happens, I remove the negative state and then instill the positive state within my client, and therefore they have way better focus on the positive state, because that's near the end of the session. The focus of the positive state is at the end of the session, and removing the negative state from the beginning.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Did you ever learn the firing off of anchors? I don't use it a lot, but for the sake of learning it through one of the practitioner trainings, we learned that we don't run away from our pain. We acknowledge it. We actually learn from it, and we have to face it and ask our clients and our loved ones, or the ones we're caring for, or in your situation, those whom you're really empowering, to face their fear, face their block. And, I just remember always thinking to myself, what if you kind of fire off the negative state and accidentally get it mixed up with the positive? But then I came up with a theory that always I'll tap on the left. Without fail, left will be like, we read from left to right, so past to future. So I always start off, negative is on the left, so face that, anchor it. And then, of course, looking at the other side of it where it's about what they want, joy, peace, harmony, in your case with what you're taking your clients through, confidence, empowerment, and that certainty and all those amazing feelings, and then getting them to anchor that. But yeah, it was fun. It was really fun learning those strategies, because it was kind of like, okay, you did feel like this, didn't you? But now, boom, this is how you feel. So that was kind of fun. But why is timeline therapy your favorite modality? I mean, I can tell you it is definitely one of mine too, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, timeline therapy is my favorite because it works. 100% works. I've had clients who are skeptics and who are now believers in timeline therapy, and I love seeing the responses after the sessions from my clients and how light they feel and how big the smiles are and how amazing, like, just to see the transformation live in action in a short period of time is really powerful to me to watch. And to be part of that experience is I feel honored,
Privileged. I totally hear you. And you sound very much like me. I don't think I'll ever get used to it. I'll never get used to the fact that a person can go from the most dramatic trauma to freedom. And oh my gosh, I can't even feel that feeling anymore. I mean, that's quite ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can remember doing a modality on one of the girls that worked for me in clinic, and she had something that was, chronically traumatic. And after we'd finished it, she came to work the next day and she said, I literally laid in bed, and this was just human nature, right? But she goes, I was trying to think and feel the pain the same as I always felt it, and it just was not there. And somehow in her human curiosity, she was trying to find it, but it wasn't there. And this is absolutely what I totally will never, ever get used to, and I'm so grateful for it. But I'm now very, very excited, because now it leads me to the exciting part where we're going to have a little play.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to be the facilitator. And, for those listeners and people that are listening to this, it doesn't matter whether you're listening to it soon as this lands, or whether it's 5 years from now, it is going to have an amazing impact for you experientially. So, just make sure that you're comfortable, somewhere safe, and just take it all in. And I'll let you facilitate so that you can kind of lead the way here, Stacy.
Yeah, thank you for this, Terry. So I'll facilitate it in a way where I'm speaking to the audience in first person. So for everyone who's listening, first of all, thank you for tuning in. And I would like for you to be in a place where you're fully relaxed, comfortable in your home, in your office, in your car, wherever you are. And close your eyes and take 6 deep breaths for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I want you to release all of the tension from your forehead, your tempo, your ears, your cheeks, your jaw, your neck. Release all the tension from your shoulders. Continue releasing from your arms, your wrists, your fingers, your lower back. And just really relax into your body. And release all the tension from your legs, your toes, your ankles, and visualize the tension being released through both of your heels. And just really relax, okay? As your unconscious mind, is it okay to run through this process?
I say yes.
Beautiful, thank you. And then ask your unconscious mind, which direction is your past and your future? Would you point? There's no right or wrong answer here.
My past, for the sake of the audience, is behind me because of the work that I've done. My future is in front of me.
Beautiful. Terry, is it okay, in our amazing audience, for you to release this emotion of anger today so you can be aware of it consciously?
Yes, I'm happy to release any emotions that are negative.
Beautiful. And what is the root cause of this problem? The very first event, when it's disconnected, will cause the problem to disappear. Was it before, during, or after your birth?
I'm getting before.
Before. Was it in the womb or before that?
I'm getting in the womb.
Beautiful. In what month?
5.
5 months. Okay. Beautiful, Terry. I just want you to relax more. Take another deep breath for me. Beautiful. Now, what I would like for you to do, I trust that you're in a safe space right now, is float outside of your body. And then float outside of the home you're in. Keep floating up to the sky, so high that you're seeing the earth. And now you are with the stars. And with your future before you and your past behind you, I would like for you to float up above your timeline and facing your past. Now float toward the very first event and let me know when you're there.
Yes, I'm here.
Beautiful. Now float directly up above the event. Tell me what you see, smell, if anything, any colors, any visuals.
It's very white, and it's as if it's a young version of my mum, and there is another person, but I'm not sure, and it's like a really old scene, but it's white.
Beautiful. Now ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this event, Terry. Anything that will help you let go of the anger easily and effortlessly. When you're ready, tell me what they are.
Are these in the way of emotions?
Anything that will help you let go of the emotion of anger easily.
Okay, so kind of like resources that I need.
Yes.
Okay. A sense of security, a sense of support, and a sense of recognition.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anything else?
Let's see. Security, support, recognition. Oh, love has come. Yes, love.
Beautiful. Now float up above the event, Terry. So now you're looking down onto the event. Okay. Is there any emotion of anger there?
I can't see any.
Beautiful. Now float down inside the event. Is the anger there gone now?
It feels neutral.
Beautiful. Now go back up above the timeline, Terry, and our beautiful audience. While you're coming back to now, as quickly as possible, let go of all of the emotions of anger on all of the events, all the way back to now, with all your learnings. We have security, we have love, we have recognition. Do you smell coffee?
What makes you say that?
Just to break the state and coming back into your body.
Yeah.
Beautiful. How was that experience?
Wow, it's really interesting. And I just feel that I'd like to share something. So people can go back and listen to this. So if you listen to it, you can set an intention of what you're going to let go of. And you are going to actually find the resources on the journey that Stacy takes you through. Now, interestingly enough, there's a bit of a dynamic going on at the moment or in the present that does involve my mother. And it's interesting that I saw my mum in that scene, if you can remember. And even though, and my mum is the most gracious person, I'm not just saying that because she is my mum, but she's the most unangry person. Like her and I, you know, we do a lot of things, but anger hasn't really been our thing. But I really sense there has been anger, which has been very strange. And I feel that because we're sort of together in the situation of what's happening, without giving any context, because it's obviously private for her. And, you know, it's almost like I was able to do some legacy work and go back to where my mother's beginnings were. And I also know that, you know, these were probably things she needed. That's what's coming to me, that those things like the support and the security and the love and the recognition. And I even know that that's what she needs right now, today. So I'm going to share this with you. It's quite coincidental. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for sharing it. You're welcome. That was fun.
So, yeah, so much fun, so much fun. So look, you know, podcast with Terry Messenger's Genius Zone just would not be a podcast of Terry Messenger's Genius Zone without being able to give you the opportunity to say to your people, it might be that person that's praying for you in 5 years from now. Okay, podcasts, YouTube, they don't have any algorithms. So it's just a matter of when the show notes happen and we put everything together, that's going to really call in those right people. So if you're listening to this, believe you me, you're meant to be here. What would you, as last words, like to impart to people that are listening, that maybe, you know, they're obviously your specific client, they want what they want, but they're blocked? What would you want to say to them?
I really wish to say that where you are now is not endgame. If you're in a place, in a position where you are blocked, you can easily come out of it and have whatever it is that you desire. I mean, I am somebody who have been bullied. I have somebody who have been emotionally abused. I've had experience losing a very important loved one, divorce, single mom, and I came out of it.
Wow.
Living my best life with my daughter, having the dream life. I travel as I wish. I do as I wish. I have freedom, and I didn't have that before. And I want you to know that you can have that too. It's absolutely possible.
It sure is. It is so, those words are just so beautiful. They're the sort of words that I would have loved to have heard pre my, NLP days, and when I was obviously in that very dark realm of hopelessness and not thinking that there was that light at the end of the tunnel. So, what I'm hearing is that your work is very much like my own, where you are transmuting pain to power, where you're giving people that hope to say, if you're where you are now, get excited, especially if you're listening to this podcast, because you are meant to be listening to it, because you're meant to be taking action and you're meant to be doing something for it in your life. And on that note, we are going to obviously drop all the links that are going to make inroads with Stacy. So Stacy, you'll be able to drop all your links where people can find you. And I know that Stacy will look after you, especially if you quote this podcast. I know she'll do something extra exciting for you. So, where do you hang out? Where would you like to encourage people to find you if you had a choice of, one of the platforms?
Find me on Instagram. Please slide into my DMs.
Yeah, slide into the DMs. Instagram, Stacy Phoenix, as it's spelled. Yeah.
Stacy Phoenix Coaching on Instagram. And I'm also on Facebook as well as Stacy Phoenix too.
Yeah. So if you're a Facebook person, go find her on Facebook. If you're Instagram, and it's Phoenix, as in the phoenix rising from the ashes. So maybe there's something to be said about that. So Stacy, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, especially for that beautiful piece of timeline. That's like a manifested dream come true for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
A show where we have explored through this various topic, along with all the exciting new topics that we bring every week to enhance your personal mastery of excellence. Now, I'd love you to do me a favor. In fact, be part of the Legacy 1 million that I have in the vision for 2028. If you know someone who really would benefit from this recording, from this episode, please share it with them. And when you subscribe, you get notified every week of our episode as soon as it drops. So let's do that legacy thing. Let's share, let's care, let's enrich. And I look forward to bringing you another week of the most enriching content. So until next time, stay inspired, stay awesome, and keep on mastering your excellence.